It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And welcome to the Realm of Geekdom. This is Nerd Breaking News. We have new episodes every Monday, so don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss an episode. Today, let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine's trailer. Let's get the instant reaction. Let's start with the professor. Oh no, he's frozen. So let's start with the kid.
Oh, okay.
No, he's back. He's back. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go for it.
So you got Wolverine with no sleeves, Ant-Man head, Lady Deathstrike. What else they put up in there? Cassandra Nova. You got Dogpool up in there. You've got some more backstory. You got Wolverine in the forest. Like, no, why is this happening? Wolverine in a bar with some impotence. What else could anyone possibly ask for a trailer? There's literally nothing else that I think any Marvel fan could ask for other than what they got. I'm happy. All Marvel fans should be happy. 10 out of 10.
And I agree 100% with what you said. One of the cool things about this has been teased for years between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. And quite honestly, the fact that it pretty much put a trailer out is just getting everyone excited. And I think this is going to be amazing just because of that. There's nostalgia. And it's Deadpool. I'm a personal fan, so I'm excited for this movie for sure. What do you think, Eagle?
Yeah, well, listen, I might be one of the few guys who probably noticed this and got excited for it, but I'm also an 80s guy, right? I love the 80s music, 80s mainly. And when I heard that they were using for the trailer a song by Madonna, which I think is like a prayer, I don't know, it just felt right into it. I know that Marvel specifically has been using a lot of specific songs. We saw it a lot with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And I don't know if they're going to use it like in the specific movie, but as it pertains to the trailer, it really caught my attention. And I thought that it went really cool with what they were trying to tell you about what this movie might be about. Um, I can tell you from my point of view, I was really excited. You get to see this Deadpool guy, the script, the way that Ryan Deadpool, I think is amazing. I think it's just a fresh character. Every time you see a Deadpool movie, it's just a different type of hero, right? Or sometimes people even question whether we should call him a hero or not. But that's what really attracts us to the character itself, right? And then Wolverine, right, which has been kind of like in the same situation where I act like a hero, but I'm no hero from his own point of view. He's conflicted. There's always things that happen in the past where he can't really be the hero. And then Deadpool is coming to him like, "Come on, man, you have done this in the past. You need to help me." And there it stops. But as far as what we saw today, there's probably going to be more trailers released where more of the plot is going to come out. But I think I give it a 10 out of 10 so far. That doesn't mean that the movie's going to be amazing. It doesn't mean that it's going to score a 10 out of 10 when we see the whole picture. But so far for the trailer, I think it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, something to say, Professor?
Yeah. To add to the Eagles' point, every single Marvel property for the last like 2 or 3 years has had an 80s theme. Every single one. Even the cartoon. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, well, maybe they're attracted to the nostalgia, right, TK? Has to be. I mean,
yeah, like tying it in. Yeah, that's a good theory. Yeah, for sure. And we've got you see that it's trending right now.
It got me. I got excited when I heard like a fame. So, I don't know. Let's see what the kid has to say.
Yeah.
let's take away the negative and the positives. You know what? Let's put a disclaimer here for the professor, the resident Marvel guy who should be paid by Marvel. Marvel, hit him up. This man would die in a hill. This man is promoting Ms. Marvel. The actress is not even promoting Ms. Marvel, but whatever.
He needs to come back home to Orlando then.
Full disclaimer, I thought the trailer was amazing. It was great. I liked the trailer. The trailer was good. The ego logic is usually on point, and he's right again, batting 100. That music was beautiful. The costume was awesome. So the people that were hating on Twitter in reference of like he's walking in the rumbles of the building and he has the sleeves are not what the other fights in the snow is. You guys have no lives. Be lucky what you're getting. Everybody's been dying for this costume. You got the costume. It looks amazing. It looks way better than the Wolverine end credits where you saw the one where in the briefcase. This looks way better. I like the fact that Deadpool is recruiting him. I like the fact that Deadpool is basically saying that my world is trash. I need your help to save it. I like the fact that Wolverine is in his low point. That's what makes him more empathetic. There's a lot of theories we're going to go into that I have the next time I talk about this of why I think Wolverine is in that particular, and I'll bounce ideas off of you. But my initial reaction is the trailer did its job. If the movie sucks, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you get Wolverine. The whole point of the story is you get Wolverine and Deadpool into the MCU, whatever way, shape, or form. When they're jumping into the portal, they're jumping from Ant-Man's head, his eyes. What's Ant-Man doing there? I have a theory for that. We'll talk about that later. But the fact that, like TK said, this has been going in the comics, it's been going on in the cartoons, it's been going on in the animated movies. Everybody should be excited for this, irrespective of you're a DC Marvel fan. My hate is for one man, not the trailer, not the movie. Is one man who is an abomination to Hollywood. I'm glad everything. I'm glad he doesn't get any more roles after this movie. I hope he retires tomorrow. He's the worst actor not named Henry Cavill. Whack Jackman is an embarrassment to the Wolverine character. We saw what Wolverine is in the animated show. We saw what he is, and even Wolverine in the X-Men. Hugh Jackman clearly, I don't know, maybe he's dyslexic. He can't read the pages on the scripts. He doesn't know what the character is. He doesn't know what the character. First of all, he ruined the initial X-Men movies, even though he was the most popular version of those. I don't want to go into it. Anyways, we're not going to go into the original X-Men. I'm already getting agitated. Take away. Listen, my thing is, before going back to you, TK, if the movie ends with Ryan Reynolds, which I'm not a fan of, but he's I guess he's acceptable, but I'm not because he's whatever. If the movie ends with Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds going into the MCU and he turns around and is not Whack Jackman, but another variant of Wolverine and Logan, then I'm going to give this movie an A just because they're doing the smart, reasonable choice and moving to the MCU without Whack Jackman. Anytime Whack Jackman is involved, the movie's not good. It doesn't make money. He's horrible. He's trash. But as long as you get him out of this movie, I'm going to see this movie. Professor, I know you're waiting for these arrows and to criticize it. It looks good. Awesome. Just get Whack Jackman out of the MCU. Don't even send him an invite, an email. Just tell him, hey, bro, you're not invited. You're too whack.
Oh my God. Go for it, Professor. I know you're itchy to talk to him. Yeah.
Okay. So Wolverine, we need to be clear on some things. Wolverine is not a great character, and it's something that everyone has to just concede. When you're looking at Wolverine as a character, let's be honest. Originally, he's an Incredible Hulk villain that then gets put on the X-Men because he needed a resident Canadian. He's put on the X-Men. All he does is stab things and yell for decades. His pivotal story after that is an issue where the X-Men are kidnapped by the Hellfire Club, and he then goes off and saves the X-Men. What do they do with Wolverine after that? Nothing. The best thing they can do with the character after that is pair him with a woman. And what ends up happening is Wolverine's purpose in the comics from then to the first X-Men movie, and even in the first X-Men movie, is simply put to mentor women. If you look during that time period, before Hugh Jackman took over the character, good luck finding any good Wolverine stories to begin with. They didn't even give him an origin story. That's how terrible the character was. They go ahead and said, oh, he can't remember his memories. The truth is, they didn't even know what to do with him that fans would find interesting. Did you know that when the character was first created, they didn't even know whether or not he had actual real claws as a power or not, because they hadn't decided yet. There was a period of time when they thought the claws were just going to come out of the glove and they were going to be part of the glove. They put no real thought into that character at all. When did they go ahead and add layers to him? Once you put Hugh Jackman in the suit. Almost every single thing, and most every bit of depth that's been added to that character was added after Hugh Jackman started playing the character, which is basically from about 1998 to now. So if you go back into the 80s or the early 90s and ask yourself, what's the best Wolverine story? You're not going to find one. They don't exist. So what ends up happening is when you're asking yourself, who is the definitive version of XYZ? The fact of the matter is Hugh Jackman has been the inspiration of every single great Wolverine story ever since, simply because they did not exist before he became the actual actor.
You're giving him too much credit.
Why did they make them?
I know he has. I think he has a good theory in there because it's really true. If you really think about it, it really isn't a story like from the 80s and before that. So it kind of has the same effect of like Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. It has a kind of the same effect where Iron Man became Iron Man because of Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We're giving too much credit. I'm going to put a disclaimer. I have no personal beef with Hugh Jackman. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I just think that he ruined the Wolverine character. He should be banned from anything Wolverine related. But in regards to what you were saying, we're giving him too much credit. Here's the one thing I'll give Hugh Jackman, and I'm being objective here for 2 seconds. He brought more people to the seats. They were not just the nerdy dudes from the 80s, 90s, and 70s when Wolverine came out in 1975. He brought a female, just like Chris Hemsworth, Henry Cavill. He brought a different demographic because he's a good-looking guy. I give him that. I give him the fact that he has risen the character of Wolverine for the last 24 years since 2000 X-Men came out. I give him his kudos for what he did to the character. The comma that I have against him is that that's not Wolverine. That's the only thing that I'm like, that's not really Wolverine. And if you look at the original, go look at part 1 and part 2 and don't get me started with The Last Dance. Oh, that movie was horrible. Who was the main character in that movie? Wolverine. The problem with Hugh Jackman is that he doesn't clearly realize that there's actual pre-him stuff, even post-him stuff or current stuff that actually are the definitive version, and he's not the definitive version.
Tag me in again. Ready? Okay. So in the year 2000, when the movies came out, Marvel had a choice to make. We can continue with traditional X-Men stories, or we can pivot. In the early 2000s, who was the writer of the X-Men? I'll help you. Grant Morrison. He wrote the X-Men. What did he do? He completely got rid of almost everything before, and he put them in those all-black X-Men costumes to match what they had in the movies. Why? Because they realized that there was no further they could take any of those characters in their current iterations. Because for as much as nostalgia might have us believe that X-Men cartoon was perfect, it wasn't. Most of those characters were so one-sided, and they deviated so far from what the comics were, there was nowhere else you could take it. So what they did is they bent almost every single one of those characters to match who they were in the movies. So from that point on, the Wolverine that you got in the comics has always matched Hugh Jackman. It's been the same ever since. Case in point, everyone talks about X-Men the animated series like it was the only X-Men cartoon. There were 2 other ones, X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men. Do the characterizations of that Wolverine match one of the original animated series? No. Who do they match? Hugh Jackman. And what happens in those stories? What is Wolverine doing? Leading the X-Men. He's literally the point person for all the storylines. Just
and
like
what's going on with why this X-Men 97 is the best X-Men product in the last 25 years? Why? Where's Hugh Jackman? Where's Wolverine?
Right.
Nobody's complaining. Nobody has complained. There's no Wolverine. Nobody. I haven't heard one person say, you know what the show needs? Wolverine.
You're right.
But that's because they're actually building characters.
Why?
That's actually because they're building other characters.
Which they failed to do.
How Cyclops is looking amazing.
Which they failed to do with Hugh Jackman. I'm blaming him. That's my argument. Look at Storm. We're revering Storm. We're reviewing Cyclops. You became a Cyclops fan because of this series. You weren't a Cyclops fan before. Nobody really cared about him before. I did because I liked Scott Summers. Hugh Jackman and the obsession with Fox, putting him on every single poster in the beginning. He's the main guy. He's Days of Future Past. He's not the guy that goes back in the past in the comics, but we're gonna do Hugh Jackman because he's the guy who makes money. First Class was beautiful. Days of Future Past is probably my second favorite. I like X-Men First Class. Days of Future Past was amazing, but it wasn't because of Whack Jackman. It was a combination of both series he's put together. X-Men: The Last Stand and Origins. Let me know how good Whack Jackman was then. Let me know. How was Deadpool 2 in the box office, by the way? Let me know.
If X-Men First Class was such a great movie, why did they get rid of almost that entire cast and put Hugh Jackman back in and sideline all of them all over again? Because they knew. They stopped and they're like, oh, we can't keep this going.
Because there's an obsession with he benefits from being the only guy to portray him live action. He benefits from that, just like Robert Downey's benefiting from that. We don't know in the future there's going to be a better Jay. You're the Marvel guy. We can't put put thing right now and say there's not going to be nobody better playing the Logan character. We don't know that, but because the last 24 years are all Whack Jackman, he gets the benefit of the doubt. When you look at the animated series again, Jay, if I'm wrong, there will be a line of people protesting. Where's Wolverine in the '97? Nobody has said that. Nobody cares.
Who's the best Superman?
That's generational, but if I had to choose, it's probably Reeves.
Why?
Because he portrayed the character at the time the thing was coming out in 1978. He portrayed it around the era of what he correlated with.
So you're saying because he's the definitive version, correct?
No, he's not. I just said that because he's the era of that Superman. He's not the definitive version.
Okay, who's the definitive version? George Reeves?
We have yet to see a definitive version of Superman. He's the best Superman so far. My projection is going to be David Corenswet, but no, we have yet to see it.
So you're saying David Corenswet's going to end up being better than Christopher Reeves?
Yeah, I'm saying that if I had to put money on the table, David Corenswet has the best chance to beat Reeves as the GOAT conversation. Look at Robert Downey. Good luck to the next guy who's Tony Stark. Good luck to the next guy who's Chris Hemsworth. And Thor could be anybody. He's trash. But there's certain people Chris Hemsworth can't act. Go look at the Netflix show.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is trash. Look at his brother too. There's certain people that have the benefit of the doubts, and this guy has 24 years of doing mass hypnosis on the mass media, saying, "I'm the definitive Wolverine." No, dude, you're just the first.
Well, that people are going to go ahead and follow that and see where it goes because we'll never know. Basically, like you were saying, Chris Reeves is the best Superman out there right now. He was the first, so it can lead that way as well. Do you have any final thoughts, Eagle?
No, it was just too much fun seeing the kid and the professor go back and forth. So I just can't wait for the next episode.
We about to make money.
I got something, TK. I got something for you. But again, before I let you go, before everybody goes, I think there's two reasons why Wolverine in this version of why he's down in his luck. Right? You saw a really quick clip of him walking with the Greys of the X-Men. You saw Toad, you saw Deathstroke, Lady Deathstrike. You see, my theory is two things. One, they could be doing the old man Logan storyline where he gets tricked and he kills everybody. That's why you see Ant-Man from the comics, the skull, the body of Ant-Man. Or two, it could be X-Men 1, 2000's Wolverine, and he lost the Phoenix battle and everybody died. That's my version. That's my theory of that's the only two ways. And I think it's genius that Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool needs him to do X, Y, and Z to connect to the MCU. I think this movie didn't make so much money. Everybody should be a fan, irrespective of Marvel and DC, irrespective of my disdain towards Wolverine and Jackman. Again, nothing personal. I think this movie's going to be amazing. It's going to make a lot of money. And it needs to. Professor, because Deadpool 2 was underwhelming in the box office. So, like we talked about, Jackman was needed in Days of Future Past. No, go look at it. And, what do you mean? Yeah, and go look at the critically acclaimed. It wasn't as good as Part 1, man. It really wasn't. I'm not even a Deadpool fan. Just like Days of Future Past and the X-Men prequels needed Jackman to succeed in Part 2, Ryan Reynolds needs Hugh Jackman to succeed in Part 3 because he can't do it without him.
And I agree with that, actually.
Earned $785 million worldwide.
And how much did Part 1 do?
We lost him.
How much did Part 1 do? Part 1 came out on Valentine's Day, and it made so much money. That's a Valentine's Day movie when it came out, Part 1. Part 2 ruined cable.
Sergio's just going off on everyone today.
Yeah. Listen, David Cornsweat, James Gunn, save me. Go DC.
All right. So let's thank you guys for tuning in as I did right here. Whether you are a Jedi time traveler or a Marvel superhero, keep your fandom alive and your warp drive engaged. Until next time, fellow nerds, this was Nerd Breaking News.